never been a case of a stranger poisoning Halloween candy. Never.
That isn't true.
It's not true. It's never happened.
What about I remember years ago the pixie sticks
It was Tylenol. They poisoned the Tylenol.
No, I remember one Halloween, a man was in the news for poisoning pixie sticks that had that powdered sugar in them, and that it got a kid sick.
Are you sure he just wasn't high and gave the wrong straw?
This guy says as far back as he's looked, he cannot find it. He says there was one case here in Texas of a guy who poisoned his own son for insurance money.
I remember that, but I forget what he poisoned him with.
But I mean,
chocolate.
here's my point. Why do we tell the public every year that this holiday is, it's a house of horrors, children are going to be dying, they're going to be tripping over their flammable costumes and falling into the street and fracturing their skull and,
Flammable costumes.
What, it really is a study in how gullible we are. And we in the media repeat this even though there's absolutely no basis for it.
It's sensational. I think it's sensationalism, and it plays into the whole holiday, if it's even a holiday, Halloween. But
it is a holiday.
Are you saying it's not a holiday?
not for me.
It's become a little bit divisive. It actually has become a bigger thing for adults. They love the costume parties, and
Yes, they do, and guys, as guys, we like the costume parties as well because it gives the women a chance to dress up like maids and stuff.
Yeah, French maids.
That is interesting, isn't it? You see that
Absolutely.
every year, and it's like, you didn't just come up with this the day before Halloween.
Like, I didn't know you had it in you, but I like
You've been
it.
feeling this for a while, yeah. There's a story this week also about how several high schools around San Antonio have had a high absentee rate recently because there were rumors at those schools that there was going to be a Columbine-style massacre. And so I was asking our listeners yesterday, don't you think you're being played here? I mean, the rumors, they get investigated, they don't find anything. As long as there's been school and children have wanted to stay home from school. Isn't this just the new version of that?
The problem is, it's happened actually. So everybody's gonna take it seriously. It's happened more than one time. So people are thinking to themselves, I think it's better be safe than sorry.
And
So
But
now,
if you keep your kid home from school because there's a rumor there's going to be an attack, when do you send them back to school?
how often are there rumors of an attack?
All the time.
all the time.
Every day in the same school?
No, but across the board, you hear of rumors of kids that are supposedly going to go Columbine, and they don't. But it is a way for kids, I think, to play hooky.
I don't remember this happening in San Antonio before. Maybe it has, but I don't remember. I mean, it happened just in these last few days, but I don't remember hearing it before. I've heard stories in other states, but I haven't heard it here.
I think kids are really now too. They know that they can use the social media to fan the flame and say, "Mom, I can't go to school today because."
Do you know how easy it would be if you knew what you were doing?
Absolutely.
To make sure 25% of the kids at your school didn't show up. And that's probably a bigger thrill for some of these kids than anything, being able to have that kind of influence. But as adults, I think we have to be a little more skeptical. I had a guy call and say, well, he heard the rumor from his son, and he looked into it. And I can see calling the school or checking around, but just letting your kids stay home from school, I think you're
My
you're
mom
very
would have sent me.
naive.
She'd have been duck. You better have been nice to those guys. Maybe they'll just wing you.
Well, and of course, when we were kids, a lot of us had a parent at home, so it wasn't that big a thrill to stay home from school. But now, a kid that stays home from school is going to be home alone, 500 channels, Xbox. I mean, that's that's a different deal than stay home and have mom make you a sandwich and watch 3 channels of Phil Donahue. So, I just, to me, this is, I know it's happened before, Nico, but I mean, it's not happening every day. It's not happening all around the country. And what are the odds that you would ever know before it happens?
No,
I mean,
I don't. I don't know. I don't know if I think that the school should do their due diligence and see do they have any threats. It happens in the courthouse all the time. I mean, we'll clear the courthouse because someone has a bomb threat, and it's usually someone that doesn't want to go to prison, and they're right before sentencing. So.
Well, and we were in school.
But
kids would pull a fire alarm before a test.
Right, but they still evacuate the courthouse just in the abundance of caution.
That didn't happen when I was in Catholic school.
Where the heck did you go to school, Ken?
A nun would wrap your knuckles.
Oh, you went to a Catholic school?
Well, I went to Catholic school, but I also went to the rest of my high school in Alaska, public school. No one pulled the fire alarm. I don't remember that at all.
Did they have fire alarms?
Yes, they had fire
Like
alarms.
caribou alarms or something? I don't know.
No, the big thing there was to, try not to get caught
alarms.
smoking in the boys' room or in the girls' room. Yeah.
We're way past that now.
Yeah.
And no one wanted to be out in the snow, so they wanted to stay where it was warm.
You know what? It's just it's we both know now, we all know, that they've kind of identified the kids nowadays if they think they're going to be the shooters. We can pick that out, especially after, when they go back and study over and over again. But the teachers, I think it's more a lawyer thing. I mean, imagine if you sent your kid to school and there was a thing, and all of a sudden, oh, God, the money that's going to cost them.
And a guy called in yesterday and said, why don't the schools send out a notice to these parents telling them there is nothing to the rumor? And I said, they can't, because if something ever happens,
Right.
there's that piece of paper.
Right.
It's all CYA.
And you watch, there's going to come a time that when you go to sign your kid up for school, you're going to have to start signing waivers saying the school cannot be held accountable for any violence or anything to happen here before your kid can attend
You're
the school.
probably right.
So we're all in fear that every day there'll be Columbine at our kids' school. We're all in fear on Halloween that there are needles and glass and poison in the can. I mean, maybe this is why, I don't want to go too far afield here, but maybe this is why kids today are obese and aren't as active as we were. Is it because we have decided the world is so dangerous that they have to stay in the house all the time? We were allowed to go places, to ride our bikes, to walk to school.
Even
Is
the
it possible
trick or treat
we
alone, I never had my parents with me.
now?
We are
Good
raising
Lord!
a group of kids that are
raising-
literally being neutered the time they come out of.
Well, we're telling them the world is a fearsome fright. Every house is the house of a predator.
The world is a somewhat fearsome place, and that's why you need to go out there and find out how fierce it is so you can protect yourself. Because by the time you're 21 and you get sent out there, guess what? You're getting hit in the groin every day with a dodgeball of life, and nothing's happening. You don't know how to take it. We need to toughen these kids up.
But I think we've exaggerated for ourselves. I'm not saying there's no danger in the world.
Oh,
Don't
there
get
is
me wrong.
danger, absolutely.
Of course there is. But if we tell ourselves every home is a threat, every person handing out Halloween candy is poisoning it, every day there's the threat of a massacre at school. I mean, your kid is probably safer at the school than they are leaving them home alone. That's when I would start to worry. My kid is home alone. There's the internet. There's texting. I mean, that's where you should be worried, not sending them to school. And I don't think we think these things through. And then we in the media repeat the rumors about the poison candy, even though there's no evidence of it.
Fear is a taught response, and we're teaching these people. Yeah. When you're a kid, you're not afraid of a spider, but then you see somebody afraid of a spider, and automatically you think that spider's dangerous. It's a taught response, and we're raising sheeples, and they're baby sheeples, but we're raising them, and we're putting the fear in them for everything. Look, the old guy across the street, he's not Uncle Touchy McFeely, he's just a weird old guy.
Right.
Not everybody, and now we know who the predators are because it's all over the internet, but we're taught that the minute the kid goes outside to ride his bike that he's going to disappear and you're never going to see him again. And
well, like even nowadays when a kid rides a bike, they have a helmet, they have knee pads, they have elbow pads, they have gloves. I mean, it's not the Tour de France. We just jumped on our bike and rode our bike.
Absolutely. I used to ride behind the thing that would kill the pest on the side of the road, and it would be spraying us, and we're like, it's the greatest job in the world. I want to do this when I get older.
There's been an email circulating, and I received it about all these things we're talking about, how we rode bikes with no protection. We we did everything. Our parents drove us. Our parents drove us with no baby seats. We had no seat belts. All those sorts of things, and we still survived and we lived and all of that. And now it's such an extreme the other way. It's not to say that some of the safety standards weren't a good thing to do, but it is amazing how it's changed just in 40 years.
And this is how we're raising our kids nowadays, to be just literally terrified of everything. You can't go outside. You can't do this. You can't watch that. You can't. And then they go on the internet and they find somebody who really is Uncle Touchy McFeely posing as a 12-year-old girl and wants to meet him in a hotel room because we're going to play Twister and it'll be fun.
That was very specific, Chad. For a hypothetical, that was
Plead the fifth.
Thank you very much, Nico.
the level of detail was.
But we're raising these kids nowadays to be so cautious of everything. When I was a kid, it was just like, hey, you know what? Don't get arrested. Don't break anybody's house. Don't do anything stupid.
Be home at nightfall.
Yeah, be home at nightfall, or and go find out what life's about. And now we're neutering
because
these
they
kids.
didn't love us.
No, it's because they actually did care about us.
They didn't care. They didn't care. They
You
just
know?
had more kids.
I mean, kids nowadays, they're
replaced us with
wrapped
more.
up in they go outside to ride a bike. They're a danger to themselves. They can't maneuver. They've
like
got,
that little kid on Christmas Story when he's so wrapped up.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And what are we doing?
That movie.
And we're raising people to be terrified of everything. And the little kids are going to reflect. My nieces and nephews. It is amazing. My nephew rides his bike all the time without a helmet. Neighbors will come and say, he's outside without a helmet. My mom's like, so what? So